Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girvardhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari 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 Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktivedanta Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktivedanta Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktivedanta Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktivedanta Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta.
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Jivasadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra.
Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra.
Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai.
Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai.
Jaya Radha Vallabha, Radha Vallabha, Shri Radhe.
Jaya Radha Vallabha, Radha Vallabha, Shri Radhe.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa. Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Ashto Tarachara Śrīmad His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki ISKCON Founder-Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Grantaraj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam Ki Nitai Gaura Premanande. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 So today we're reading from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 4, text, chapter number 16, Praise of King Pritha by the Professional Reciters, text number 21. Asmai Nripalaha Kila Tatra Tatra Balim Harishyanti Sa Lokapala Mamsyante Esham Striya Adirajam Chakra Ayudham Tat Yashaha Udharantya Asmai Nripala Kila Tatra Tatra Balim Harishyanti Salokapala Mamsyanta Esham Striya Adirajam Chakra Yudham Tadyasha Udharantya Asmai Nripala Kila Tatra Tatra Balim Harishyanti Salokapala Mamsyanta Esham Striya Adirajam Chakra Yudham Tadyasha Udharantya Asmai Nripala Kila Tatra Tatra Balim Harishyanti Salokapala Mamsyanta Esham Striya Adirajam Chakra Yudham Tadyasha Udharantya Asmai Nripala Kila Tatra Tatra Balim Harishyanti Salokapala Mamsyante Esham Striya Adirajam Chakra Yudham Tadyasha Udharantya Asmai Nripala Kila Tatra Tatra Balim Harishyanti Salokapala Mamsyanta Esham Striya Adirajam Chakra Yudham Tadyasha Udharantya
Asmai Nripala Kila Tatra Tatra
Asmai Nripala Kila Tatra Tatra
Balim Harishyanti Salokapala
Balim Harishyanti Salokapala
Mamsyanta Esham Striya Adirajam
Mamsyanta Esham Striya Adirajam
Chakra Yudham Tadyasha Udharantya
Chakra Yudham Tadyasha Udharantya. Ladies? Asmai Nripala Kila Tatra Tatra Balim Harishyanti Salokapala Mamsyanta Esham Striya Adirajam Chakrayutam Tattisha Udharantya. Asmai Vipala Kila Tatra Tatra Valim Harishyanti Salokapala Mam Syanta Esham Sri Adirajam Chakrayutam Udharantya. Asmai, unto him. Nripalaha, all the kings. Kila, certainly. Tatra Tatra, here and there. Balim, presentations. Harishyanti, will offer. Sa, with. Lokapala, the demigods. Mamsyante, will consider. Esham, of these kings. Striya, wives. Adirajam, the original king. Chakra Ayudham, bearing the disc weapon. Tat, his. Yashaha, reputation. Udharantya, carrying on. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. When the king travels all over the world, other kings, as well as the demigods, will offer him all kinds of presentations. Their queens will also consider him the original king, who carries in his hands the emblems of club and disc, and will sing of his fame, for he will be as reputable as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport. As far as reputation is concerned, King Prithu is already known as the incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The word Adirajam means the original king. The original king is Narayan, or Lord Vishnu. People do not know that the original king, or Narayan, is actually the protector of all living entities. As confirmed in the Vedas, Eko Bahunam Yo Vidadhati Kaman. I think it's okay. Katha Upanishad 2.2.13. Actually, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is maintaining all living entities. The king, or Naradev, is his representative. As such, the king's duty is to personally supervise the distribution of wealth for the maintenance of all living entities. If he does so, he will be as reputable as Narayan. As mentioned in this verse, Tad Yashaha, Prithu Maharaj was actually carrying with him the reputation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead because he was actually reigning over the world in that capacity. Om Gyan Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruvai Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagujatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Purijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Paran Sahagana Raghunath Natam Vitamscha He Krishna Kuna Sindhu Dinabantu Jagapate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishavanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Panchakalpa Trubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So the verse again. Asmanripala kila tatra tatra, balim harishyanti salokapala, mamsyanta esham stri adirajam, chakra yudham tadisha udharancha. When the king travels all over the world, other kings, as well as the demigods, will offer him all kinds of presentations. Their queens will also consider him the original king, who carries in his hands the emblem of club and disc, and will sing of his fame, for he will be as reputable as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Bhutale Śrīmati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatade Shatane. So, Srila Prabhupada talks in the purport about Krishna, Lord Narayan being the original protector of all living entities, and King Prithu Maharaj being his representative is carrying out that function of protecting all the living entities. So the verse Prabhupada quotes in the purport, Eko Bahunam Yo Vidadhati Kaman, from the Katha Upanishad. So it's a nice verse from the Vedas, and as Prabhupada explains the Upanishads, which this verse comes from, the Upanishads are then we get to the transcendental section of the Vedas. There's so many Vedic literatures, and many of them are concerned with, as Krishna says in Gita, the three modes of material nature and material activities. But then when we get to the Upanishads, then we're getting into the spiritual knowledge. So that verse from Katha Upanishad, Nityo Nityanam Chaitanas Chaitananam Eko Bahunam Vyo Vidadhati Kaman. So there's one line before that. There is Krishna is eternal, and we are also eternal. And Krishna is conscious, cognizant, and we are also conscious. So what is the difference then between us and Krishna? And of course there's many definitions of God, and this definition is that the difference is that the Supreme Lord is supplying all the necessities of life for the many other living entities. So it's an interesting meditation that one person, one living entity, is supplying and maintaining all the necessities for all the other living entities, which is far, far beyond what we can conceive of, just how many living entities there are. As if you ask a scientist, they might tell you that in one square centimetre of air, there's so many billions of germs or other kind of living entities flying around. And in our body and in the ground, there's, the earth is rich with bugs that chew up the earth and make fertilizer, and worms and so many things. And, we're only talking about this planet. And this planet is like a speck of dust in the whole universe. And then Lord Chaitanya told one of his devotees that this whole universe, what to speak of all the planets within it, this whole universe is like a mustard seed in a bag of mustard seeds. So how many living entities are there? And then the whole material universe is only 1/4 of Krishna's creation. So that's a lot of living entities to maintain. And Bhagavatam also describes in this age, Kali Yuga, a person will be considered successful if they can maintain one wife and their family members. So what to speak of in other ages, kings had dozens of wives and subjects and ministers that they were maintaining with their wealth. So, but this age where we're very, much more degraded, and there's a lot less wealth and opulence, and so just to maintain one family is considered a success, and how much struggle we have to go through to do that. So therefore, we get an idea of the unlimited nature of God and Krishna by understanding that He's maintaining everyone else. So then we can ask, but why is God maintaining all of us conditioned souls? In the material world, we have a material body, so that is what Krishna is maintaining, our material body, because without Krishna supplying all these things, then we can't just survive on a material level. We're completely dependent on God. Even though everyone wants to be independent, at every moment we're dependent on the air supply and the light and just ingredients for our food and all these things, and intelligence. All these things are supplied by God. But no one wants to acknowledge that. So, of course, in the spiritual world, the living entities have a spiritual body, so they don't need to have their material body. They don't have a material body, so it's no necessity of maintaining a material body. But still, Krishna is manifesting the whole spiritual world as well. So in that way, Krishna is maintaining everyone, all the living beings in the spiritual world, and maintaining, because for the pure souls in the spiritual world, then God is their life and soul. So He's maintaining them in that way, that by His darshan and presence, then they're able to continue. So Bhagavatam describes Ahastani Sahastanam Aparani Chatushparam Falguni Tatmahatam Jivo Jivasya Jivanam. So, are you learning Sanskrit, Sivya? Okay, she's not. So, Ahastani, so hasta, actually in yoga there's a yogasana, hastasana. Means hand, hasta means hand. So ahasta, no hands. If the living beings, the creatures that have no hands, they are food for sahastani, the creatures that have hands. So the deer is food for the lion, because the deer has like hooves, and in a sense the lion has hands. His claws are like hands. And aparani chatushparam, those creatures that have no legs, aparani, food for those creatures that have 4 legs. So in other words, the grass is food for the cow. And falguni tatmahatam, the weak subsistence for the strong. The weak are the subsistence of the strong. And the general rule holds that one living being is food for another. So in this way, this is Krishna's arrangement to maintain all the living beings, that just eat someone else and you'll be maintained. And so once we get to the human form of life, what is the reason that Krishna is maintaining us? Once we get to the human form of life, out of the 8,400,000 species of life, and 400,000 are human. So then Krishna wants us to offer these material ingredients when we're being maintained, and then offer these material ingredients to Krishna in sacrifice. And then this is the beginning of awakening our Krishna consciousness. So that is the long process of awakening our spiritual consciousness, that we engage in the method of sacrifice. So we just, karma yoga, we start by whatever we receive from our work. We're very attached to our work, and we want things, we want to enjoy this world, but just a small portion of what we get in the world, we offer that to Krishna in sacrifice. And that's like just starting to acknowledge that, whatever we're receiving is supplied by God. And this is explained nicely in Gita. Krishna explains that people that don't offer something in sacrifice, they are stainer or thief. So everyone in the material world is a thief because everything belongs to Krishna. And my Guru Maharaj gives the example, if you go to downtown CBD shopping centre, any one of these massive suburban shopping malls, and you just go there and you just walk into a department store, Myers, and you start taking things off the shelf and you're saying, this is for me, this is all for me, and no intention of paying for it. And so the store security comes up and says, excuse me, this doesn't belong to you, this is, we're going to arrest you. But you say, well, hang on, but I don't see the owner anywhere. Where does it say that this doesn't belong to me? But this is obviously a foolish argument. So just because the owner isn't there, but of course it belongs to someone. It's not just, and this is actually a flaw in the Christian theology, that they got the idea that this world is here for us to enjoy. But actually, they have to acknowledge that this world belongs to Krishna, God, and therefore we have to, if we want to take from Krishna, he's supplying us our quota, but we have to give something back. There's a price to pay. We can't just take and take and take and not pay anything in return to the Lord. And Prabhupada's example is of an electricity account. So you're taking so much electricity for your home to power your home, your appliances, but if you don't pay the bill, they'll cut the power and you'll be in darkness. So in the same way, the sun is like our power supply for this world. So we have to pay something for that. But Krishna is giving us so much supplies, and we're not paying anything. So what kind of debt we're getting ourselves into, and therefore the supplies of these things, when they're not paid for, get restricted. And so people experience shortage of just the basic necessities in life, shortage of water, shortage of clean air, shortage of food. So just go to the verses in chapter 3. Krishna's talking about sacrifice. So, in the beginning of creation, the Lord of all creatures sent forth generations of men and demigods, along with sacrifices for Vishnu, and blessed them by saying, "Be thou happy by this yajna," sacrifice, because its performance will bestow upon you everything desirable for living happily and achieving liberation. So, by doing sacrifices, then human beings can become very satisfied and happy in this world, and have plentiful supply, and be able to cook nice things and offer them to the Lord. And so they have no kind of anxiety about, getting by in this world and maintaining ourselves. If we engage in sacrifice, then all these things are supplied, and we can, not have all that stress and anxiety. And then, of course, Krishna says, and after that, once we're peaceful in this world, then that gives us the opportunity to think about what's beyond this world, what's in the next life. And as Krishna says, achieving liberation, getting out of this world. Because after all, this world is a prison house for the conditioned souls. So it's we don't want to become first-class prisoners. Prabhupada gives this example of, third class, second class, and first-class prisoners. A first-class prisoner is someone who obeys all the rules very nicely of the prison house. They do you can do courses and stuff in the prison, and very well behaved. They don't beat up the guards, and they go to bed on time and go back to their prison cell when they're told to, and do everything nicely. But they have no intention of ever leaving the prison. If and when the time comes and your time is up, you've served your sentence, you're free to go. Say, no, I like this prison. Look how nice I've made my prison cell. Like I've decorated it, and posters of my favourite heroes on the wall, and a nice comfortable bed every night to sleep. I don't have to worry about somewhere to sleep, and food 3 times a day. I've actually heard that people, if they're before they went to prison, they were like very shabby, and then they go to prison and they're fed well and they become very healthier. So some people, they like that. They're fed regularly. They don't. So some people, they get into that. Like, oh, why would I want to leave? So that's a first-class prisoner. In the same way, if we're like that in our life, that we're just very comfortably situated, and no desire to get out of this world, then we're just we're in ignorance. We don't understand that this is not real freedom. That every day we're in a material body, and the material body is our vehicle, and that's creating us so many difficulties, so many problems, and 3 kinds of miseries: relationships with others, other living entities, biting us and cursing us and having road rage at us maybe, and then the demigods, or the natural living entity, natural forces of the world, creating so many problems. We're very accustomed to that in Melbourne. One day it's boiling hot, and the next day it's raining and cold. So we're used to, there's all these sufferings in the world. But we think, if we can just mitigate these sufferings and work very hard to create a little comfortable situation for ourselves. We have a shelter, strong bricks, good roof over our head, and nicely painted walls, and this little shelter that we have away from the world is our nice. And then we can live very comfortably in that home, and have a nice family, and just be protected and immune from the pressures of the world. But it doesn't work like that. Krishna's ultimate ruling or judgment is death. So no one can avoid that. Actually, my Guru Maharaj tells a story of a very, very, very wealthy man in America. At that time, I don't know, in the 70s or something, he was the richest man in America. And he had the idea that, it's just because of germs that people die, bacteria. So what I'll do, I'll go inside a room and I'll seal it, what's the word, hermetically sealed, so no air can get in, and only pure filtered air can come into my room, and all of my food has to be irradiated. So it's anyway the food has no value nowadays, but then you just irradiate it and kill it completely. And then so that way all my food, no germs can come in. I'll be completely protected, but I'll be completely bored as well in that room. But then, of course, it didn't work. He died. So somehow there's already germs existing in our body. You can't just block germs from the outside. They're already there in our body. Some, cancer cells going to manifests itself. And so that's the ultimate death no one can avoid. So, it's just in blindness and ignorance that people don't understand that. Not like the ostrich sticking its head in the sand. It's about to get mauled by a lion. So its solution is to stick its head in the sand and say, oh, it's not happening. I can't see. I'm in darkness. Nothing's happening to me. And so the lion is very happy. It's got a free meal. So like that, if we don't face up to, the realities of the world, then we're just in darkness. So Krishna's set up this system of Vedic sacrifices, and he gave them to us. You be happy by doing these yajnas, and then you get out of the world. You be well situated, practice Krishna consciousness, chant Hare Krishna without offence, and aim to get out of this world. And even if we aim that way and we're not successful, but Krishna will keep giving us opportunities to attain perfection and achieve the goal. So Prabhupada explains that is the whole program for the conditioned soul. By performance of yajna, the conditioned souls gradually become Krishna conscious and become godly in all respects. In the age of Kali, the Sankirtan Yajna, the chanting of the names of God, is recommended by the Vedic scriptures, and this transcendental system was introduced by Lord Chaitanya for the deliverance of all men in this age. Sankirtan Yajna and Krishna consciousness go well together. Lord Krishna, in his devotional form as Lord Chaitanya, is mentioned in the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam as follows, with special reference to the Sankirtan Yajna. Krishna Vanam Tisha Krishnam Sangopangastra Pashadam Yagnai Sankirtana Praye Yajantihi Sumedasaha. In this age of Kali, people who are endowed with sufficient intelligence will worship the Lord, who is accompanied by his associates, by performance of Sankirtan Yajna. Other yajnas prescribed in the Vedic literatures are not easy to perform in this age of Kali, but the Sankirtan Yajna is easy and sublime for all purposes, as recommended in Bhagavad Gita also 9:14. So people have to become intelligent and take to this Sankirtan Yajna, because, as Prabhupada is explaining, all of these other yajnas that are recommended, that Krishna prescribes in the Vedas, not easy to do nowadays. We don't have the requisite materials, and not in sufficient quantity, not in sufficient purity, and we don't have the trained brahmanas qualified to chant the mantras and get the desired result. So there's various pastimes of, when brahmanas say one syllable in the wrong, it's meant to be a long A, not a short A, and then it mucks up the whole yajna. So of course, at the temple we just do yajnas to attract people, because it's so ingrained in the Vedic culture to do yajnas. So okay, at least just come and, if you want to do that, you can do that, and at least chant Hare Krishna and have some prasadam and associate with devotees and hear something from Bhagavad Gita. So in that way, we can do yajnas, but we introduce the Sankirtan Yajna mix it in with the people think they're just doing a Vedic yajna. And so Krishna explains that the demigods, when we cooperate with the demigods who are supplying all these necessities, then prosperity will reign for all. But people that enjoy these gifts without offering them to the demigods in return is certainly a thief. Yo mukte stena eva saha. So to become good citizen, like in a universal sense, that we're not stealing from Krishna. We have to acknowledge that everything belongs to Krishna. And, it's not hard, as Krishna says, if one offers me with love and devotion just a leaf, a fruit, flower, water, then I will accept it. And so we just humbly recognize that everything here is Krishna's, and get into this routine, this habit of humbly offering things to the Lord, however small it may be, as long as it's continually developing our sense of devotion and love for Krishna, so that Krishna will be pleased and continue to reveal himself to us. And in this verse, or this section of Bhagavatam, explaining about that is the king's duty to administer that process of sacrifice. They're meant to see that every citizen is engaged in their natural occupation, whether it be a merchant, a business person, or just an ordinary worker, a brahmana, a learned person, or an administrator. Everyone should be doing their duties and offering the results of their work to Krishna. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Yata pravati bhutanam yena savam idam tatam svakamana tam abhyachya siddhi vinditi manava. By worship of the Lord, who is the source of all beings and who is all-pervading, a man can attain perfection through performing his own work. So, in the early days especially, then people would criticize the devotees for saying, oh, you're just lazy bums, you're just avoiding, modern society, avoiding work. But no, Krishna says that we recommend that we do our work where, it can appear that we're contributing to ordinary society, but our aim is we're not just mindless parts of this rat race, but we're actually doing our work to please the Supreme Lord. So, although that Krishna is supplying everything that we need on a material level, all our food and water and etc., but still we're not, because we're in the illusion of bodily consciousness, then nothing actually gives us real satisfaction. So we can have everything that we need for our bodily maintenance, but still we know that we're not actually satisfied. We're not experiencing real satisfaction because Krishna says that Aritam Jnanam Etena Jnanino Nityavarna Kama Rupena Kontaya Dushpurena Nalenacha. He says that the wise living entity's pure consciousness becomes covered by his eternal enemy in the form of lust, which is never satisfied and which burns like fire. So we keep desiring and desiring to have more things and keep maintaining the body and increasing our standard of material happiness and prosperity. But this lust is never satisfied and burns like fire. It just creates us. When you're in the fire, you're burning, it's miserable. So, because Krishna and the living entity, we ourselves, the Vedas say, Anandamaya Vyasa, by nature we are blissful. So not just a little bit of happiness in the material world just means we reduce our suffering a little bit. So I think I've heard Dave Rita Maharaj give that example. If you go to the dentist and you have a toothache, and so he pulls out your tooth, and you call that happiness when that misery of the aching tooth goes away. Actually, last week I had quite a hellish week. I had all these mouth ulcers and a couple on my tongue, and it was just the worst thing ever. You can't enjoy my prasadam at all. Like, it just got like, feels like my tongue is getting cut all the time, and you know, it's just like, it's such a small thing, but it creates so much misery. And so this week I'm much like relieved because they've kind of gone away, so I can enjoy prasadam again. And it just, you know, but that is happiness in the material world, that the negation of distress. But actually, Ananda, where actually our nature is to be blissful. So, and Lord Chaitanya says in the Shikshashtakam, Chaito Dapana Marjanam Bhavamaha Davagni Nirapnam Shreyakara Vachandrika Vitranam Vidyavadhu Jivanam Anandam Vadhanam Pratipadam Purnam Ritasvadanam Saravatmasnapanam Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. So again, Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement is so easy for everyone. He says, cleanses the heart of the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life, of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge, and it increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. So we're always wanting, hankering for, you know, that spiritual bliss, that spiritual happiness. But people without information of that higher spiritual taste, they look for it in so many other ways, just most commonly by intoxication, and, you know, material sex life, and eating out at fancy places, and sleeping in fancy places. You know, Prabhupada says in a lecture, like, the dog in the street is sleeping, and the person in the, you know, 20th floor of a hotel, nice fancy apartment or hotel room, they're also sleeping. And when you're asleep, it's the same. You don't know that you're in a 20-story hotel room, double king-side bed, whatever. The dog on the street is also asleep and very happy sleeping. So there's no difference. If you're, you know, we think we just create this with mental concoction that this kind of eating out at a fancy restaurant is better than eating at, you know, this other place. Like, people come to Crossways and it's such a simple, you know, kind of restaurant. You just one price, one set menu, but people are so satisfied just by that, you know, nice prasadam. And so it doesn't, you know, this is the illusion that modern society has created, that the more money you have, the more standard of happiness you can have. But happiness and, you know, wealth are not, they don't match together, they're not correlated. So actually you can be, we find this out when we become devotees, that just very simple things can give us great, great happiness. And I was just, you know, I was reminded of that the instant that I walked into the temple this morning before I gave class, and Kirtan was still happening, and some of the devotees were like, created like a snake line, like holding each other's hand and just dancing around and going around the temple chanting Hare Krishna, and the kids were there, and you know, the kids and the adults together and holding hands, and so there's that unity and just very simple happiness, transcendental happiness, just from this small activity of chanting Hare Krishna together. And actually that is also the perfection of, you know, most of devotees will be householders, so that is the perfection of our household life too, when we can all be united together and chanting Hare Krishna, worshipping Krishna, and also remembering that when we're chanting Hare Krishna, it's not just a mechanical like words, and actually it has a meaning, that we're asking Krishna to be engaged in his pure loving service. So there's that mood, of course, it's a mood of prayer in the chanting. And we shouldn't let that get overshadowed in kirtan, just screaming Hare Krishna. But we're screaming, or like really calling out with our heart to be engaged in service, then that is actual kirtan and devotion, glorifying Krishna. In the one hand, we're glorifying Krishna, and because Krishna is so great, then for that reason we want to engage in his service, causeless, loving service. And there's a nice... in this verse also we have some words. There is Salokapala, which means the demigods, or Lokapala, the demigods. Loka meaning planets, and Pala means protector. And then the next one, also a Pala, is, where is it? Oh, I missed it. It was the first one, Nripala, all the kings. So Nri is human being, and Pala, protector. So the king is a protector of the human beings. And then what is one of Krishna's names? I'll hand it over to the audience now. One of Krishna's names, which has the word Pal. Gopal, yes. Very good. So Gopal, Krishna is Gopal, the protector of the cows. Go meaning cows, and Pala, protector. So Krishna is the protector of the cows. So this is Lord Chaitanya's mood in the Sankirtan Yoga, which we've been discussing, is to approaching Lord Krishna in Vrindavan. Prabhupada says, like, when Krishna kills the demons, that's Vasudeva Krishna, that's not the original Krishna. So the original Krishna is in Vrindavan with the cowherd boys and cowherd girls, and he doesn't kill demons. Like his expansion of Vasudeva Krishna kills the demons. And so Gopal, he's a protector of the cows, and also Gopal can refer just to the cowherd boys in general. So these are his transcendental pastimes where he appears like an ordinary human being, just a small boy, but actually occasionally he manifests that he's actually the Supreme Lord, as he's seen the Govardhan pastime, and Lord Indra mistook Lord Krishna for an ordinary cowherd boy. Has anyone met any cowherd boys, like just in India and stuff? Yeah, village cowherd boys. They're simple, just boys, right? Like, yeah. So anyway, I'll leave it there. See if there's any questions or comments about today's verse. Yes, Prabhu.
You mentioned about the yajna and they're chanting the mantra, and
Yep.
the short and the long changes the pronunciation, changes the meaning. So we are also doing the Sankirtan yajna, and we are also chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And Prabhupada has given the diacritic marks of which is short, which is long. But we don't pay attention to those diacritic marks, and we say anything we like. Krishna is the correct pronunciation, and Krishna is a wrong pronunciation. That's a long K is a wrong pronunciation. When you see the Krishna, there is no dash at the top of the A. But Ra is a long. So it's changing the meaning. When we say Krishna, it becomes Draupadi. So when we say Hare Krishna, it becomes Hare Draupadi. It changes the entire meaning of the mantra. So we should be pronouncing Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, rather than Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Yeah.
Hare Hare. So many devotees are doing the wrong pronunciation. Say Ram and Ramo. So it's changing the meaning all over. So how can we make devotees pay attention to this diacritic have any suggestions how we can?
Just for the people at home, so Prabhu's talking about, I had mentioned in the Vedic mantras, in when people do yagyas, sacrifice that, it's, most of them we can't do because there were no people qualified to actually chant the mantras properly and say the right pronunciation, because it can change the whole meaning of the mantras if they're not pronounced correctly. So similarly, we're chanting Hare Krishna mantra, and so we should chant Hare Krishna with the right, pronunciation, and Prabhu was saying, particularly with the short A on the end of Krishna, not the long A, which is a long A with Krishna is indicating Draupadi. So yeah, it's a fair enough comment. As the 10 offences in chanting Hare Krishna, the most important offence to be avoided is inattention. So, they can kind of come under that offence, that to be attentive, then we're, chanting actually the Hare Krishna mantra, not some other mantra. My Gurudev always says, we shouldn't be chanting Krishna's name is Hare Krishna, not Shnik Shnik Ram Ram, hey di di di, hey kitty kitty, like that. So it's my Gurudev, he also says it's Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And we just, not rush through it. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Rama Rama, Krishna Krishna, Rama, Krishna Rama Rama, hey kitty kitty, like that. So we just chant properly the Hare Krishna mantra and asking Krishna and Srimati Radharani to be engaged in their loving service. Attentively chanting and hearing ourselves chant with devotion. Actually, a few times recently I've been hearing my Guru Maharaj talk about with this chanting process that, to get some higher experience from chanting Hare Krishna, we're doing it every day. So it's important that we chant in such a way, Gurudev says that, we give ourselves something interesting to listen to. If we're chanting in a mood that is devotional and prayerful, then we'll become interested in what we're hearing. But if we're just chanting monotonously, like Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, when is Prashadam, and I've got so many plans for today, but I'm stuck here chanting, how boring. Then of course we send ourselves to sleep, and we don't get any higher taste if we're chanting in a way that, it's like our brainwaves have gone static. Our brainwaves have kind of ceased functioning. There's no, if we hook up our brain to a chart reader thing, measures the electrical signals, and it's practically flat when we're chanting, then of course we're not going to be interested in chanting. So that is something to learn, to chant in a way that it captures our attention, that attentive chanting, that we're interested to hear ourselves chant because we're chanting with so much feeling and attention and love. It's a gradual thing, of course. It's not overnight. But everything we're doing, comes back to that chanting, and all our services, they feed into each other. We're serving Krishna, so we want to chant and ask for his service more, and then if we're chanting nicely, then Krishna will give us service. Actual service, as also my Guru Maharaj is explaining. We can't complain to Krishna, Krishna, I have so much service, I'm getting fried out. Then have to ask ourselves, are we actually doing service? because we can't say to Krishna, Krishna, don't give me so much service. This service is putting me in Maya. I can't do my service properly. But then it's not actually service, because service is enlightening and enlivening. So we can just work and just do something with our body, but for it to be service, it has to be devotional. Yeah. Any other comments or questions? Yes, Mahatma?
There is so much praise of King Prithu.
Yeah.
How do we compare with Maharaj Yudhishthira? Can you give us some?
Compare the prayers of King Prithu compared to...
And Maharaj Yudhishthira.
Like when Yudhishthira Maharaj prays in Canto 1, right?
How do you compare? What level?
Oh, what level? I'm not so technically minded about, nor learned enough to compare Prithu Maharaj versus Maharaj Yudhishthira. I mean, Prithu Maharaj is like devotee, and Prithu Maharaj is, Yudhishthira Maharaj is devotee, Prithu Maharaj is directly the Supreme Lord himself, like incarnation of Krishna. Acting in the capacity of a king. I can't say so much. Of course, Maharaj Yudhishthira, it's intimately associating with Krishna. We're definitely, most of us won't be at that level, so we take instructions from everyone in Bhagavatam. I don't think we really need to discriminate, like Prahlad Maharaj's prayers are better than prayers of Dhruva Maharaj or someone, but of course there are stages of devotion, but for ourselves then we're pretty much, we're nowhere near anyone in the Bhagavatam, so just to come to any high level is good for us, yeah.
You can just say both are great Vaishnavas.
Yeah. Okay, we'll stop there. Thank you very much. Grantara Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki. Srila Prabhupada ki. Nitai Gaura Premanandi.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
I missed you at lunch yesterday, Prabhu. Just get the tomorrow's...